This is episode 92 of The Place of Sound, and I'm your host, Kateryna Kalynovska. For those of you who are listening for the first time, The Place of Sound is the show that explores the themes of place and space using sound and listening. This is done through a variety of audio media production formats, so you can expect to do a few different types of listening in a single show. Episodes consist of what we refer to as audio portraits or oral history-style interviews that explore topic of home, soundscape compositions, which use everyday sounds to communicate the personal and social significance of a given place, and we typically end the episode with a short documentary-style piece that explores the place-based identity of the producer. The aim of these projects is to allow the producer to think about the places that made them who they are today. These are the types of projects you can expect to hear on The Place of Sound, and all of them are produced by students here at Carleton University. They're what gets produced in Comms 4501 Digital Media Production, which is a fourth-year workshop course in the Communication and Media Studies program. Today's episode is a bit different. It includes one soundscape composition and two short audio documentaries, each centered on themes of memory, community, and the meaning of home. Let's begin with a soundscape by McClintock Luft, who revisits Patterson Creek Park, a place tied to moments of emotional intensity and disconnection. Her piece captures both the external sounds of the park and the internal landscape of self-perception, blurring the line between memory, presence, and embodiment. Grace, take it away.
Hi everyone, I'm Grace McClintock Luft, a fourth-year Communication and Media Studies student at Carleton University. For my soundscape and digital media production, I wanted to explore the idea of a soundscape as both a moment in time and place, and as a performance of self. In this soundscape, I go to Patterson Creek Park, a place I used to visit whenever I felt upset and disembodied, at a time when I lived up the street across from the 417. There was construction at the park when I visited, and throughout the recording process, I frequently encountered electrical interference. In the juxtaposition between the sounds of the park and the way the microphone picked those sounds up, I found the same disconnect that I felt during past visits. Through this separation of embodied sensations and recorded sound, I hope to try and capture the feeling of trying and failing to exist in one's own body. Something is wrong with the body I am in. There often is something wrong, but it's louder here. My relationship with Patterson Creek Park is complicated. Back when I lived across the street from the highway, I used to come here to think. One time, when the Adderall and caffeine weren't playing nice, I came here and listened to Grace by Jeff Buckley, and cried so hard I thought I'd detach from myself and leave my body behind on the grass. That was a year ago. My body came home with me, but I don't think I ever fully reattached myself to it. There are other people here. They move with a sense of self-ownership. I move on. There is construction on the O'Connor side of the park. It reminds me of my old apartment, and for a brief moment, I am gone. I try to focus on the birds. But the wrongness is getting louder. I am inches away from myself. In this moment, those inches feel like forever. A dog barks at my body. And somewhere else, a woman asks a question.
Thank you, Grace. What struck me most was how the piece channels emotional dissonance through the tension between environment and perception, between birdsong and construction, stillness and static. It's a deeply personal listening experience, but one that resonates far beyond a single place. Up next is a documentary by Harris Blake Widdicombe about the Shepherd Heritage Housing Cooperative, an apartment building that survived near collapse thanks to the people who called it home. It's a story about community care, collective action, and what it takes to preserve not just a building, but a way of living. Over to you, Harris.
My name is Harris Blake Widdicombe, and I'm a fourth-year student of Communication and Media Studies at Carleton University. I live in a 112-year-old apartment building named the Shepherd Heritage Housing Cooperative. And it's a beautiful old building, and I have lived here for about 10 years, and it means a lot to me. And this audio documentary is a love letter to my home and my community. And it's called The Heart of the City. In the heart of Ottawa, the neighborhood of Centretown is home to some 25,000 people, including me. It's walkable and beautiful and sometimes ugly and progressive and diverse. And when you walk down my street, you'll see rundown halfway houses literally right next to brand new condos and then the best sushi spot in town. Many of the buildings in Centertown are very old, sometimes more than a century. And some of them have names. The Duncannon, the Windsor Arms, the Strathcona, and the Shefford, where I live. It was built in 1912, the same year as the Chateau Laurier was built, and the same year as the sinking of the Titanic. It has seen 2 world wars and 2 pandemics.
It was one of Ottawa's first apartment buildings. And at one point, it was a really shishi place to be. Like, there was a doctor's office on the ground floor, and dumbwaiters were used. There might have been a kitchen in the basement. And it's been used as a site for to stand in for New York in movies, both the outside and the inside. It's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
It really is an elegant old building.
Marika Morris and Lee Harris have lived at the Shefford for over 30 years.
But in the 1980s, there was a landlord who wasn't taking care of the building. And by the early 90s, they wanted to sell the building. And it was really run down by then. Like, there were bugs and there were rats in the basement and whatever.
The most unsanitary surface you could ever imagine. I mean, I think the one that I moved into had like sand, almost like a sandpaper surface or something. It was gross. They didn't put any money in the building. It was falling apart.
After 75 years, the Shefford was dying, but the tenants of the rundown building took matters into their own hands.
But we had a number of people who just loved the building and didn't want to see it destroyed, and they didn't want to be kicked out. So there was a tenants association that had formed to deal with the landlord who wasn't doing anything about the maintenance. So it was that tenant association that became the founding board of the co-op.
When this place became a co-op, I didn't even know what a co-op was. There was a core group of very, very dedicated people that spent, in fact, some of them got so burned out by the time it became a co-op that they moved away. They had been sort of destroyed by the process.
Founding the co-op was just the beginning. The Shefford Apartments became the Shefford Housing Cooperative, and eventually the Shefford Heritage Housing Co-op.
This old dilapidated building that we took over needed unbelievable amounts of reconstruction, and I think if they had gotten reputable people to do it, they probably couldn't have afforded to do it. So it was pretty much a nightmare. The first part of it, construction, ripping up walls, like just plaster everywhere.
The windows were all replaced, and there were like bats flying around inside because they just didn't put another window there right away. They ripped out all of the old radiators, so there were holes in the floor. Like, you could talk to your neighbor, say hello, and make eye contact with your neighbor downstairs, which was really awkward, especially in the bathroom, but also like bedrooms. And that, there were holes in the floor for months, before they fixed it and replaced it. So people really, I think there was a bit of trauma bonding at that time. Everyone in the building, like, they had all been tenants, and they were interviewed to see if they wanted to become co-op members, and all but one said yes.
I remember seeing a bottom kitchen cupboard moving a little bit, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. What's going on there? And then I figured, okay, it's a mouse or something. And I kind of stamped my foot or whatever. And at that moment, the cupboard door banged open, and then this bat shot out of the thing and flew about, 2 inches. You know how bats fly erratically like that, right? Like, first it's coming right at me, and then it veered at the last second. And holy shit, I ran out of
we went through a lot collectively to become a co-op. In the early days, I would say that about a third of the co-op was made up of young gay men. And there were a number of people who worked on Parliament Hill who lived here. And they were it was mainly young people in this building, except for 2 households, which were elderly people. And now it's changed in terms of now it's mainly older people. When I first moved in here in 1992, it really was market rent. Like the rent was the same as any place you would get in Centertown. But now there's a huge difference because private landlords have jacked up their rents. So now there's about $1,000 difference between the market rent at the Shefford and market rent just, across the street.
Cooperative living has its challenges, and it's not for everyone. But it is a great way to help control the cost of living, and there are many different kinds of co-op.
It started in the mid-1800s in northern England, and it was like a consumer co-op, and it was in some mining town in northern England where they had to go to the company store, and they were fed up with the company owning them. Owning their whole lives at work, after work. And so they started like a co-op so that they could meet their own needs. And it became a really popular idea. And now, Quebec has a lot of co-ops. They have funeral co-ops. I think there's one in Ottawa now. All kinds of co-ops, like the Mountain Equipment Co-op, You can become a member and then you get a vote. So now there are also co-ops around the world. And that it's seen as a good way to empower people, especially in developing countries and rural areas.
The Shefford is my home, and some of the best moments of my life have happened in this place. I became an uncle in this place. And in the process of making this documentary, I realized I wasn't just doing a school project. I was also writing a love letter to my home and my community. And this is a great place to live. And it's all thanks to people like Marika and Lee and the Tenants Association that became the Shefford Heritage Housing Cooperative.
That was the heart of the city. And I think Harris captures something rare, the soul of a place through the voices of those who saved it. The sense of history, resilience, and quiet pride comes through in every detail. Our final piece is a documentary by Keven Boudriau about the ByTowne cinema, a local theater with a big personality. What begins as a personal tribute to cinema becomes a portrait of community, capturing the joy of shared laughter, spontaneous applause, and late-night screenings that bring people together. Over to you, Keven.
Hey everyone, my name is Keven Boudriau. When I first heard I had to make an audio documentary, ByTowne Cinema was the first place I had in mind. While the first few times I only went to watch some movies alone, I quickly learned that that's not all this independent cinema has to offer. This audio documentary contains a few short stories and some fun facts about what exciting things happen here. Hope you enjoy. And applause. Despite the film being almost 40 years old, Akira still manages to receive the acclaim it deserves. But which theater is playing it?
Do you have tickets?
Yes, I do.
Right now, we are outside ByTowne Cinema, recently reopened after the COVID-19 pandemic, and operating under the same name since 1988. The one-screen cinema is best known for showing a wide variety of independent, cult, and international films.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
It really enhances the experience to see it with all those people in that unique environment that there's not many like.
This is Miko, a good friend of mine. Recently, our group of friends have started meeting together quite regularly to watch films and discuss them over pho.
And eventually we wanted to head out to the theater a little early so that we could make sure we got good seats, because we were all very much looking forward to seeing Akira, especially my friend Ryan, who had never seen it before. We wanted to make sure that he would get a positive experience watching it. So we made our way there about an hour before the movie started so we could get some snacks and, get ready and find our seats. And during the movie itself, I remember looking over at the newcomer and trying to see his reaction to some of the big moments that I was looking forward to when watching the movie. When the more grotesque scenes or maybe some of the funnier punchlines happened, it was always fun to see his reaction and hearing the laughter in the crowd as well.
Despite most of our group having seen the film before, ByTowne Cinema gave us an opportunity to meet back together to watch a movie which we might have not picked had we done a movie night just at his apartment, especially during a looming exam season. However, the chance to see it on the big screen was what ultimately brought us together during this stressful time.
It's not just about the screen itself and the quality of the video, it's also the audio, the experience, the ambiance. Seeing it with a crowd there is always a way different experience than just having it in your apartment. Seeing the crowd's reaction, hearing the crowd's reaction actually, to either some passing jokes or some very intense moments. And Akira definitely has a whole lot of those.
In addition to showcasing independent, cult, and international films, ByTowne Cinema is a great space to experience a fun twist to the classic cinema experience.
You're not coming in to watch a film seriously. You're coming in to laugh and joke around with people, and it's a fun, interactive, communal experience.
This is Geneviève, ByTowne Cinema's general manager. Right now, we just heard her explain the whole concept behind Drunken Cinema. One of the many events held at ByTowne Cinema has become quite popular with regulars.
Basically, it's an interactive screening. So we take a movie from 90s, early 2000s that were popular at the time and have either aged or not aged very well, depending on your perspective. And so when you come in, you're given a glow stick and a card that will prompt you to interact during the screening. You'll come in and you'll have a list of cues that will get you to engage by, waving your glow stick in the air, or if you're so inclined, have a sip of a beverage. So I came to see The Wedding Singer because it's also a favorite of mine. So it was a lot of fun. I had my glow stick and I was front and middle section and just with some friends, and it was just a lot of fun.
With hopes to showcase the theater's ability to act as a space for local communities and filmmakers, ByTowne Cinema is always reaching out, offering a space that can bring them together.
We love collaborating with organizers, local filmmakers. We love, renting out the cinema to filmmakers who want to have their screen filmed on the big screen in front of an audience. So we go, it can go from, very small to a little bigger, like the animation festival.
One of the largest collaborations is with the Ottawa International Animation Festival, a 4-day event that brings international crowds, local animation fans, and people in the industry together.
We've been collaborating with the Ottawa International Animation Festival for many, many years now. So every September we will have the Animation Festival, which we're always very excited about. It brings new audiences to the cinema, and it's a lot of films that, we wouldn't necessarily play. It's a whole 4 days dedicated to animated film, which, we program ourselves, but it's nice to have it just be just a predominant part of our programming for a big part of September.
Meet Ba, an animation student at Algonquin College, who enjoys volunteering at the Animation Festival. September is a very important time for animators like him, as the festival brings international animation communities to Ottawa, allowing them to network and experience new films, many of them hosted at ByTowne Cinema.
during the animation festival, I went to a screening for Masaki Yuasa. It was a movie that he directed called Inuo. It was honestly one of the best experiences I had, like, in a theater in a while, because we got the opportunity to meet the director, of course, and with the ambiance of the theater and the speech he gave during the theater, it was really enjoyable and inspirational for us as animation students. As well, on top of that, like, the movie was like a concert and the crowd participated in it. It was a good memory for sure.
Yeah. While Inuo stood as a memorable cinematic experience for Ba at ByTowne Cinema, with a chance to meet the director, hear him say a few words about the film, and the crowd chants and claps during the more musical moments of the film, ByTowne Cinema also gave the opportunity for students to present their own short films in a full cinematic experience.
There's usually a short film competition, which a lot of people send their short films they made throughout the year to an animation festival, and there's like this competition. Anybody that gets picked, they get shown in this. It's like a compilation of the best short films throughout the year. It's always a good moment to see all these creative minds put together in an environment like that. It's always nostalgic going back there because you get all the memory of all the people you meet during the movie theater, and then all the hard work you see around. It's very inspirational, definitely.
Despite the struggles many cinemas have, from competing for licensing, the rise of streaming, and the whole pandemic we just had, ByTowne Cinema manages to keep its feet on the ground. It's not just a place to watch movies, it's a hub for creativity, connection, and community. Whether it's reuniting friends over a classic like Akira, immersing yourself in the electric atmosphere of a drunken cinema event, or watching local animators shine during the Ottawa International Animation Festival, ByTowne transforms cinema into a shared experience. It's a space where stories come to life, not just on screen, but in the bonds it helps forge in the audience. ByTowne Cinema is proof that film isn't just an entertainment, but it's also a medium for building community.
Yeah, come on. It's gonna be like packed.
Thank you, Keven. The ByTowne is more than a theater. It's a meeting place, a stage, a sanctuary. I love how this place celebrates cinema as a way of building relationships, both with stories and with each other. That brings us to the end of today's episode, and I want to thank Grace, Harris, and Keven for sharing such powerful and personal work. Across these three pieces, we've heard very different places: a park, an apartment building, and a cinema. But they all remind us that sound carries memory. It holds emotion, conflict, and connection. And when we listen closely, we begin to understand not just the spaces around us, but the people who make them meaningful. Thanks for listening, and see you next time on The Place of Sound.